People ask me all of the time, Suzanne, how is it that you've been able to speak for Hay House, for Mind Valley, for TEDx, and how are you able to get booked and paid to speak inside of corporations and other stages so early on in your career? I had a desire to speak on stages probably starting around 2015. And I also had a big fear, a big fear of speaking. And if you have the fear of public speaking, drop me some emojis, because I'll tell you right now, it means that you are meant to speak on stages. And very early on, I was able to speak for Hay House. Still pretty early in my career, I was landing stages like Mind Valley, Lululemon, the American Heart Association, and even fairly early in my career, in 2019, I gave a TEDx speech that has now today reached almost 3.5 million people. There is something so magnetic and alive that comes on in me when I hold a microphone and when I'm in front of a room. And it's one of the most fulfilling things that I've ever done. And when I look back to what it is that I did to really be able to get on stages, it comes to these three things, and I'm going to share it with you. So the first thing, and this might sound a little counterintuitive or silly, but it's make the freaking decision. I can tell you, I have, again, been speaking for a decade, and I've been coaching other speakers for 5 or 6 years. And a lot of times people say that they want to speak on stage. They say they want to give a TEDx. They say they want to speak on big industry stages. But what happens is they're popping this on their vision board and they're not doing anything about it. And when you make the decision, and not just the decision from like, oh, this is going on my vision board, but from the decision of like, this is a soul calling. I know I am meant to share my story, and I know that I have to start somewhere, and I'm going to dream big, but I know that this year is the year that I'm going to show up, and I'm going to make it a priority to hold the microphone and to share my story. So when you make that decision, what you do is you begin to naturally become an energetic match for opportunities because you've decided. And I can tell you that this is a big piece of the puzzle. So if you want to speak on stages and you want to get paid to share your story and to help elevate the world, and you haven't done it yet, I want you to ask, have I truly decided? And have I begun to make moves in alignment with that decision? It's very simple. And I can tell you that if you're not getting results, the answer is most likely you just haven't decided. So you can decide right now. In fact, if you want to claim that decision right here on this video, just write, I'm doing it, I'm deciding right now. The second thing is you have to develop a skill set. So I believe that if you have the desire in your heart to speak on big stages, you have a gift. You have a gift, or you wouldn't have that desire in your heart. So everything I teach is around unique soul blueprint. And what I mean by that is you want to build your brand, you want to build your company, you want to make money in a way that's in alignment with your unique genius and gifts. And if you have the desire to speak on stage, then that means that's part of your unique soul blueprint. So if you think about T Swift, right? Like Taylor Swift did not get to where she is by just waiting around for opportunities and then walking on the stage and playing a guitar or singing a song. What she did was she had a gift. She has a gift. She has a natural magnetism. She has it, but she's also developed it. And if you think back to like the teardrops on my guitar era, when she was going and practicing, yes, she was in studio, yes, she was practicing, but she was putting herself in front of live audiences. So in speaking, like to think about this, a lot of people don't practice. And if they do, they're only practicing in front of a mirror, in front of their kids, in front of their pets, in front of their partners. And that's a piece of it in developing your skill set. But a bigger piece of it is picking up a freaking microphone and doing so in a way where you're implementing and moving forward. So this is kind of 2 and 3 together. So let me just really separate this. Point 2 is about developing the skill set. When you think about other artists, Beyonce, Alicia Keys, Adele, Do you think that they actually developed that skill set? Do you think they worked with coaches and mentors? Do you think they practiced? Do you think they went and danced around with live audiences, maybe smaller ones than they eventually wanted, but they showed up? If you think about a professional football player or baseball player, do you think somebody says, I'm going to go play professional baseball, I'm just going to watch some YouTube tutorials? No. No. What they do is they go and they begin to develop their skill set. They commit to it. They move forward. And that is something that is very, very important. Okay? Now, the third piece around this is around implementation. So there's developing your skill set, which is getting better. But then there's implementing. All right? And I'm going to tell you how I did this and how this really put me on big stages fast. So implement as you go isn't the same as learn as you go. Learn as you go means figure it out each step of the way. Implement is you're implementing the skill set that you've been developing each step of the way. This is very important. Okay? So implementing, to use my own story as an example, like I knew that I was meant to speak on big stages. I just had that knowing. Drop me emojis if you have that knowing too. And for example, when I connected with Mind Valley to speak at Mind Valley, I spoke for Mind Valley twice, once in Bali and once in Europe. And when I was connecting with them, I had been implementing as I go. Otherwise, they wouldn't have brought me on. When I spoke for Hay House, it was the same thing. It was an implementation. It wasn't a learn as I go. It was developing this, making the decision, developing the skill set, and implementing as I go. And if you want to speak on, like if I think about the Hay House, especially when I was like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to speak for places like this? It didn't make sense. I had no idea how. TEDx, I had no idea. But each step of the way, I began to implement and I began to build, and it changed the game. And so if you're desiring to make money through sharing your story, if you're having a soul's calling of knowing that you're meant to speak on big stages, but you don't know how, I want you to ask this. 1, have you made the decision? 2, what is it that you're doing to develop your skill set? Are you learning different frameworks? Are you learning different techniques? And I'll just say this. You want to learn from people that have spoken on stages that you desire to speak on. I know people that have hired TEDx coaches, that have hired coaches at Toastmasters that don't truly understand what it takes to actually deliver the talk. So when you look at the developing of this skill set, are you learning from someone who has spoken on stages that you desire to speak on? Then the implement as you go is get yourself on a stage. And this is easier than you think. There are so many different places, community spaces that want an inspirational message, that want a transformational story, that want somebody that can come in and offer a dynamite experience. And I will tell you this, there are far more people desiring speakers than there are skilled speakers. And this is the truth. And every time I've given a talk for the last 8 years, the feedback I get is through the roof and phenomenal. And it's because I developed a skill set and I implemented as I go, as I learned to speak my soul. Now, speak your soul is the process that I teach around speaking. That literally is a way where you open up your own channel and you speak your highest magnetic frequency in a way that is going to impact the audience, and in a way where every stage leads to the next. One stage leads to the next. Now, implement as you go. What does that mean? That means you're learning and you implement. You figure out ways to create live audiences, whether it's a workshop that you host for 5 or 10 people, or whether it's a committee, something in your neighborhood, something in your community, something bigger. It does not matter. But I can tell you there is a huge difference between practicing speaking in front of a mirror or in front of an animal versus holding a microphone and a live audience with real humans. So one of my favorite things about speaking is the connection that it builds. The connection that it builds, the relationships, the memories. I have literally traveled the world speaking and getting paid for it. And so if you're like, Suzanne, I want to learn, I want to develop my skill set, I want to begin implementing, 2025 is the year I'm going to speak on big stages like TEDx, like Mind Valley, like getting paid inside of corporations, which, by the way, my keynote fee right now is currently $30,000 for one keynote. And it will grow. It will get bigger than that for sure. And I remembered when I thought, oh my gosh, how would I ever even charge for speaking? How would I charge more than $1,000? And then it was like, how would I charge more than a few $1,000s? And now here we are. And so if you would like to learn my eyes on your business, my eyes on your story, I have a few different ways that I can help you with this, and I want to share them with you. So the first way is I have something called the 10-minute magnetic framework. 10-minute magnetic talk framework, excuse me. And this is something that I created and have utilized in many big stages over the years that has helped me to attract high-level clients. One time I literally had 10 minutes on a stage. I gave this talk, and within seconds of walking off the stage, I was signing a $50,000 client who had never seen me before or had never heard of me, but she was so moved and could just feel the energy of what I was teaching about. She was really ready to work with me. I have other clients that have implemented this framework and literally had 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes on a stage, because that's often the opportunity that you're given, and have had clients booking in with them right away. And what this framework does is it gives you the confidence to know exactly what it is that you need to say and how to plug and play your genius in an amazing way. So right now you can get this framework for $33. And if you're interested in that, you can comment magnetic. Okay, I don't know how long the price will be, $33, but I highly recommend if you want to speak on big stages, you want to make amazing money doing it, this is a perfect place where you can begin to develop your skill set and make the decision. So again, you can just type in magnetic. It's only $33 for now. The second thing I want to share with you is my VIP Speaker Soul Retreat. And this is more like an in-person style mastermind where you get to speak on stage and you get my personalized coaching to help you create the most magnetic keynote that would either land you on the TEDx or get you on some of these larger industry stages that are calling to you, give you all of the speaker's assets that you need so you leave with experience you have implemented as you go with mastery level coaching, and you get the videography and the photography of you speaking on stage. And my clients that have come into this experience have had a ton of success implementing what they've learned and booking 5-figure keynotes, booking high-paying corporate speaking opportunities. So if you would like details on any of those, you can DM me. And I just want you to know that if you have the calling to speak, it is up to you to really begin to create that reality. Because I remember when I was scared of speaking, I remember the first time I held a microphone and I was kicking over a water bottle on stage and my hands were trembling. And I can tell you now, I am my most at home, most alive, most comfortable on a stage. So cheers to manifesting big wild dreams together this year. I will see y'all soon. Bye.